Coach, the Hall of Famer, Coach Becky Woods, joining us from her house in Brownsville. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing fine.
You keeping cool? I stepped outside for about a minute and it was hot.
It's very hot out there right now.
Yeah,
Yes,
absolutely. Coach, how have you been through quarantine and sports people like us? It was a rough couple of months.
bored, very bored. I miss the kids, and we've had them on Zoom every day though, ever since March when we couldn't go back to school. They've been with us every single day. Certain kids have been with us. We just started workouts at school today, but that's only for the kids that have been with us every single day for the last 4 months.
Mhm. What'd you do during quarantine? Did you pick up on any house hobbies or any movie watching, any binge watching?
Yes, I renovated 2 of my bathrooms.
Okay.
So, yeah.
You kept quite busy then.
Yes.
Um, any movies you watched that you hadn't seen before that you had
Uh,
time to sit back?
Not really. I'm really not a big movie watcher. I do a lot of work on the computer. I get on the internet and see what's going on, see what volleyball, see what different things I could do and stuff like that.
Definitely. And you mentioned, about the workouts. Today being June 8th was the first day that teams were allowed to, programs were allowed to gather, with the restrictions. Were you there this morning?
No, we have a certain protocol. What we did was 2 coaches are taking the first 2 weeks, and our girls are at LFU. And what they do is it's very, very strict. We only took 28 kids, the 28 that have been real consistent on the Zoom. And what they did was we even had a rehearsal with the athletic director and the athletic coordinator and the coaches. We had to go up there the other day to do so we could walk through exactly what the kids would have to do. The wearing the mask. Every kid was lined up on the sidewalk 6 feet apart. And when they got up to the door, they had to scan a barcode. Then when they entered the hallway going into the gym, they all had their temperature taken. And then one by one, 6 feet apart, they were taken back to the weight room. And every kid had their own weight rack. And when the one side was filled up, we filled up the other side 28, or 28 total, 14. And then they did their 35-minute workout, and that was indoors. And then they took them outdoors to run. It was 2 groups, 2 separate groups, so nobody cross-contaminated anyone. Parents let them off in the front. Parents picked them up in the back. They were allowed to take 2 things. They were allowed to take water, which they needed to take enough water for the entire morning because they were not allowed to fill water up. And they took their phones. And that was basically it. Now, the kids that we did not allow any incoming freshmen to go. We just did the 10 through 12. It was a great setup. Coach Brown did an awesome job. And Coach Foster, Coach Valdez, they did a great job setting all this up as far as so that we didn't have any problems. We're praying, everybody's got to wear a mask too. When they're inside, when they're inside in the weight room, everybody had to wear a mask. So on our Zoom classes during the last 4 months, the kids, the last week or so, had to work out on Zoom with the mask on so they could get used to that. Mm-hmm. That I think was probably the toughest, trying to breathe through that mask. But, and then when they went outside to run, of course, they were able to take it off. But as far as I know, I asked them, I was at home doing the Zoom for the incoming freshmen and the other kids. So it worked out good. I've already talked to them today and they said it went real well. After 2 weeks, we're going to reevaluate, see where we're at, and we'll go from there.
And I feel from a sports perspective, as a coach and as a media in sports, I feel this is a big step, number one, getting closer towards our goal, and that's playing volleyball and football cross country in the fall.
Yes, I hope we get to do that. I think football will be okay. It's an outdoor sport. I don't know. Cross country should be okay. Volleyball, I don't know what they're going to do as far as crowds and the gyms and keeping 6 feet apart and all that. I don't know. They're going to work all that out, I'm sure.
Definitely. Coach Woods, we spoke a couple of weeks ago with the passing of Roy. You knew him very closely from his time on covering Los Fresnos volleyball. He was a good friend of mine. I got to know him over these past couple of years. Just if you could just share some words on Roy.
A gentleman, very caring, very compassionate. That guy didn't miss a beat. He never missed a game hardly. If he told you he would be there, he would be there. I really, I trusted him to put the best article in the newspaper. He was at hundreds over my 35 years that he's probably been to hundreds of volleyball games. And my kids loved him. They would all talk to him after the games. He was just so caring. There's not, I don't know of a better word, compassionate and caring. That guy loves sports, not just volleyball. He loved everything, soccer. He would talk about soccer. He would talk about going to football games. He would talk about basketball. The guy loved everything. It did not matter. And he was at everything.
Yeah, I believe him and you were in the same Hall of Fame class, 2016.
Yes, we were. Yeah.
Could you maybe go back and talk about the night that the two of you got inducted into the Hall of Fame?
It was really nice. I got to talk to Roy over there that night, and it was a proud moment for both of us. We were so close as far as working together over the 35 years, and then to have something so special like that happen, it was amazing. It was amazing. Just a smile on his face, looking at his family. They were so proud of him, and it was a bittersweet moment. Yes.
Definitely. I'm having a little small technical difficulty. I was trying to pull up a photo of you and Roy that I actually shot. He was actually interviewing you at one of the games. I think it was from this past year. I couldn't pull up the photo. I was trying to pull it up on the screen share, but the computer wasn't working with me. But I always referred to him as the GOAT.
Yes. I have to agree with you there. Definitely. There was nobody better. And the funny thing was, if you knew Roy, that when he would write, his hand would shake. And I don't know how anybody could ever read what he wrote, but he knew exactly what he was writing. Every single time, every single hour. I would even make the comment, Roy, do you understand what I said? And he said, oh yeah, I can read it all. And sure enough, the next day he had it all down. So
absolutely. If you can see it on your screen there, I was able to pull it up.
Oh yeah, I'm so photogenic. Yes, I see it on the screen. Yes, that was Roy. Yes.
Yep, there he was. Yeah, and it was the same thing. It was his black hat with his red RGV sports polo and with his tape recorder in one hand, and those notes were sacred, Coach.
Oh yeah.
I tell you what, we had our football shows on Wednesday nights, and we'd be talking about 3A football, and Bishop was playing Lyford, and we're kind of like, well, we know what Lyford's doing, but what's Bishop doing? And Roy's like, I got it, hold on. So we'd grab his spiral and go down to the 3A district and had everything you needed to know about that district. Every game they played, just everything right there, right on par. Roy had it. And when, we, like we said, we were writing a piece on him, and, everyone he was a walking encyclopedia when it came to sports.
Exactly. Yeah. One thing I remember more than anything is every single game we played, every night when I'd get on the bus to come home, he would always text me and say, hey coach, give me your scores. Always, faithfully. It didn't matter where we were, who we played. He wanted to know what our scores were.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. And we always relied on him as well. When it came to scores, we knew that Roy was always going to have the scores that we needed, whether it was in volleyball, soccer, anything. We knew Roy was going to have. Definitely.
And he knew what the other team was doing too. I mean, you'd say, okay, Roy, who won between such and such? And he'd be like, oh, somebody better beat Harlingen or whatever. And, so we knew right away.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, Coach, thank you for your words on Roy. Moving on to you, and you're from Iowa, and you went to Graceland University, and I was reading up on you just a little bit to have some questions to ask, and I realized you played field hockey, softball, and basketball. The one that sticks out to me is field hockey.
A lot of running.
Yeah, what made you want to do that, or how did that work?
It was an interesting sport. I lost a tooth while I was doing it, by the way. The ball, if you know anything about field hockey, it's kind of like soccer in a way. You have certain positions on the field, and like I was like considered a midfielder. And you just run. I mean, you run, you gotta know how to pass it. The ball is hard. That ball is made out of, I don't know what it's made out of, but it's extremely hard. And one time I was dribbling, and that's what it's called, dribbling down the field, and that ball just ran right up that stick and popped me right in the mouth. We didn't wear mouth guards either back then. Yeah, so it was an interesting sport. It got you ready for the other sports. It got you ready for basketball. It got you ready for softball. So.
In softball, what position did you play in softball?
I was a guard. Oh, in softball. I played shortstop. Shortstop, center field. Yeah. Sometimes I would pitch. It just depended on the team. We went to nationals in softball. We went to Grand Rapids, Michigan, and we placed third. We got beat by Chico State out of California. Yeah.
Okay.
So with softball was very, very, we had a great softball team. Basketball, we were okay. Field hockey, they went to nationals in New Jersey. I wasn't on that team. I was a year behind that team. So yeah, college opens your eyes. It really does.
And then it comes 1985 when you move down here to the Rio Grande Valley. How did you see the job, the Los Fresnos job? How did that come about?
I came down on a trip. It wasn't spring break. I just came down with some friends, and I had just graduated. So I thought I'll put an application in here and there. And I just stopped in Los Fresnos and put an application in and went back home to Iowa. And next thing I know, I got a phone call about 2 or 3 days later, and they wanted to fly me back down and interview me. To be honest with you, I really didn't know a whole lot about it. I played volleyball 1 year in high school. It was brand new in Iowa, brand new sport. So I did not play volleyball in college at all. And I was interviewed by Ray Farias. And next thing I know, he asked me if I wanted the job, and I've been here 35 years.
And it's a little ironic when you look at your resume, one would say that you either played volleyball in college or high school. Or something like that. Yeah. And then, because then you look at, you played basketball, you played softball. You said that's got to be a softball coach or a basketball coach. But no, you found your form in volleyball. Right. And how did you find that form, or how did you find that niche to be so good at it?
I had a lot of help. There was a lot of people out there that guided me. There's a ton of people. There's a ton of coaches that knew a lot about the sport, a lot of stuff that I didn't know. I cannot take all the credit for all those wins, because there were so many people that had a part of my life in winning, and that I will never forget. Tons and tons of coaches. A lot of mentors, a lot of good mentors though. But yeah, so I just, and I want to thank those, it was not only, it was club coaches, it was coaches that I coach against now, coaches that were at Los Fresnos, that have left Los Fresnos. Every day I learned something new. It was like, oh, I didn't know that drill. That's a great drill. And I've taken those drills, and in our program, from the freshman group up, basically, those kids know what to expect, because they have been there. They go through the daily routine, and then we have to have coaches meetings every year. So I bring in my middle school coaches, and they tell me what they're doing at the middle school, and I show them what we're doing at the high school. what I'd like for them to do. And we have a coaching clinic for them so that they know what our what we expect when they become varsity players. I select, we had 110 kids, and I select the top 10 or 12. That's pretty slim picking right there.
It really is. And another thing that stood out was you started the softball program in 1994 there at Los Fresnos. You're a part of a very small group with Debbie Esparza, Iris Iglesias, Elias Martinez, a very small group that started softball. Walk us back to 1994 and you starting that softball program at Los Fresnos.
I think it was, I was a big softball. I loved softball in college, and I'm so glad that we got a chance to get it underway in Los Fresnos. I have to thank Ron Edquist and Kim Edquist and all those coaches that helped me there also. And we even started the program at the 7th and 8th grade level. And we didn't have the fancy fields like they have today and all that. We started on a regular dirt field practically. The dugouts weren't enclosed and all that. But yeah, we got it going. And, we had a few district titles there. We had some good teams until they started doing the club in the summer, which was many years down the road. They started taking those kids. I coached softball for about, I don't know, probably. I coached basketball for 17 years at Los Fresnos, the freshman level, freshman JV. Softball, probably 12 or 15. So, and then of course, volleyball. Oh, swimming too. Forgot about swimming. I was kind of an assistant there.
Kind of the jack of all trades. With softball, when we had that show with Coach Iglesias and Martinez and Coach Tressler, was the fact of starting a program, the challenges that come with it. What were some things that stood out to you as far as those challenges of starting a program?
I would have to say the personnel that you're working with. These kids, they knew a little bit about fast pitch down here. It was kind of hard for them to adapt to at times. Where I came from, fast pitch was fast pitch. I mean, those girls up there in the Midwest, Oklahoma, Iowa, Nebraska, those girls could throw the ball. Down here, a little bit different. You had to really, really work with them. That underhand pitch, but they picked it up good. They picked it up well. And there's kids down here that are cut out specifically for softball. And I truly believe that. I think everybody has one sport that they really excel in. And I would have to say just, ordering equipment, and there's a lot of equipment involved in softball. And getting the kids on the same level, figuring out positions. Can you catch? Can you play first base? You right or left-handed? A lot of things go into account. Shortstop, can you cover a wide area of the field? Center fielder, you got to be able to go forward, backwards, right, left, cover everything. It's just, and then of course the batting lineups. You got to figure out who's your best leadoff hitter. Who's your best 3, 4, and 5 hitters, your power hitters. But, and that all you had to teach them all that stuff.
Definitely. And yesterday I got to catch up with Reba Reyes. They had their travel ball practice yesterday. So I thought that was pretty cool. I've been on record publicly and I've said it out loud that in my opinion, she's the best player in the Valley.
I totally agree with you. And it's so sad that she didn't get to play this year.
Right.
Even though she got a scholarship, I mean, I think she could have been an all-state selection.
Yes.
I do.
Yes, because Coach, you talk about a 5-tool player. Reba's that and then some.
Yes.
What she was doing for you guys.
And I feel honored to have her younger sister in volleyball, Corey.
Okay.
She's going to be a sophomore this year.
Okay, yeah. So the Reyes pipeline is continuing there in Los Fresnos.
Yeah.
Shifting gears and talking about the volleyball court. You joined the 600 club in 2015, and then this past year you joined the 700 club. That's pretty impressive, Coach. And when was it in your career when you felt that, hey, like I'm pretty good at this volleyball stuff?
Well, I really never thought I'm pretty good at it. I've always felt like I got some great athletes out here. These girls can play. Um, I'm a big fan of hitting. I love hitters. I don't know why. I just love hitters. And these guys, these kids, they want to keep that tradition going, that winning tradition. I think there was 2 or 3 years straight that we had 4 straight district titles, 4 straight undefeated seasons. I'd have to look back at my playoff thing, but these kids love to win. That's the bottom line. It had nothing really to do with me except me, getting in there and saying, we got to keep it up. We got to get that gold ball that everybody goes after. But it was the kids. They kill each other to get on the varsity. I mean, they're so devastated if they don't make varsity. So I try to really work hard with those juniors and seniors. Some of them may not have the hitting potential, but they get in there and they really, really get after it. So I don't play a lot of different kids. I have a set group, usually 7, 8, 9 kids. But if you can get a pretty good lead, you got to let everybody play. I've had some special ed kids on my team, and I got to get them in the game somewhere along the way. I got to get them in the game and let them be a part of it, because there's nothing more exciting than to hear a crowd cheer when a kid like that gets in a game and makes a serve. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So, and that we've had that before.
Definitely. That's really special. When people ask me, when we're getting ready for volleyball, when I was at the start, Roy and I shared the volleyball beat. So Roy and I would always talk about the volleyball teams, who's up and coming, what's the race looking like. Now, considering we covered the lower valley, you guys, I'm from Edinburgh, so the peeps up here would ask 31-6A, 36A.
Right.
Hey, what's it looking like? How are we looking? What's the scoop like? Mm-hmm. And my response is, in volleyball, what have you done against the McAllens and Los Fresnos?
Right.
And people are like, oh, well, I'm not sure, or we didn't do so well. I'm like, okay, well then it's those 4 teams and then it's you. People get upset, but that's how it's been these last several years, with Los Fresnos being the power in the East and the McAllens being the power in the West.
Exactly.
Just talk about the longevity that you and those McAllen schools, 3 specifically, have in common, and just, what Paula Dodge does and those coaches over there. I mean, yes. I'm sure it's a friendly rivalry, but it's a good one.
Right. It's a great rivalry. Paula and I we both come from the North, from the Midwest, and we play each other every year. Matter of fact, I have all 3 of those teams scheduled for this year, if this year takes place. Mm-hmm. But the rivalry, it's a fun rivalry. You both want to win. Yes. And every year I get the same question over and over. Did you schedule Mac High? Did you schedule Nicky Rowe? Did you schedule McAllen Memorial? I'm like, yes, and yes. So, but in the lower valley, we got some good teams. Don't kid yourself. Brownsville and Rivetta, they're very, very good. They're very solid all the time, every year. Right. Those Harlingen schools are coming around. South and Harlingen High gave us a great game last year. Mm-hmm. So, you kind of look at what you've lost, then you look at what you're going to gain, and you look at what they've lost and what they're going to gain, and you think, you can do it again, So I think it's a very fun rivalry. I can't wait. I love playing the McAllen schools. This year we have to go to Mac High. This year we have to go to Rowe, but we have Memorial at home. So it's going to, and those really having the teams in our district that we've got was a lot better, because now I had to schedule less non-district games, but we were so fortunate to pick up all 3 of those teams on our open dates.
Right, yeah, because you guys jumped from a 6 to an 8-team district. I'm, as a reporter, I was so frustrated with the 6-team district. I was like, yes, it was more of a sprint for you guys through the district race. Just a couple of years ago, 2017, in fact, I remember Harlingen and Hannah were both eyeing that playing game, and I think Harlingen maybe finished 8-6
Right.
and misses the playoffs. Was that one of the more competitive years in most recent years for you guys and Harlingen South and all those other teams?
Yes. Harlingen had one of those teams had that real good. She was the MVP in our district. I think it was South. But
Michaela
oh
Medeiros?
yeah, our games came down to the wire. I mean, they
Mhm.
were like scores of 25-23, 26-28, and it was anybody's game right there at the end. They kind of, it's kind of like they ganged up on us, Harlingen High and South, because it seemed like we would play one and turn right back around, play the other one. That's how the district schedule fell. So this year, I think it's kind of spread out. I think we have it's like South first and Harlingen down the list a little ways. So, but yeah, they definitely they had good teams, just like we did. That was it. That year was anybody's race. Anybody.
And then this year, Odalis Gonzalez, she graduates
Right.
this year. She's going to Coastal Bend. I'm sure as a competitor and as a coach, you're kind of like, whew.
Hannah, yes, the Hannah girl.
Yeah.
But you know what? They got another girl coming up.
I hear.
They have a little transfer from, I think she's from Mexico. I
Yes.
think she's going to get approved. She's good. I saw
Yes.
her last year at the JV level. She's very good, very talented.
Definitely. And now you guys adding Donna North and Weslaco, kind of expanding that district, like you mentioned, being able to add some games and keep some games. With the realignment, what was the look at the new, the sort of the new 32-6A?
I think it's going to be great. Like I said, I like the district games. I don't know a lot about Donna North. I saw a little bit of Weslaco last year because I believe we played them in the by-district game.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's going to be anybody's game. It depends. It just depends really with this COVID-19. It's going to depend on who worked out during the summer without any, any workouts at the schools or whatever. If they can get some of the kids in and get the workouts done. Preseason is everything. You have to, you got to prepare. And I think that's one thing that's going to hurt us is the fact that I can't get all my kids together like I have in the past. We get that that thing from UIL where you get that 2-hour time limit or whatever. But that's that COVID-19 is going to hurt. It's going to be whoever worked out and whoever really, really, really wants it, because I really think that's going to hurt a lot of teams this year.
Definitely. Let's talk a little bit about last season and you reaching the 700th win. It was at the McAllen Pound Fest in August.
Right.
And I know competitors like you, Coach, you don't worry about,
No.
698, 699. But I'm sure after the game, when you're like, okay, there it is, I can kind of
It's over. Yeah.
right. I can kind of take a step back and say, look at what we have done as a program in general. What was that moment like reaching 700?
I look back at every single team I've had since 1985. Every single one of those groups of kids were a part of that. I mean, I see parents today that played for me where their kids now are playing for me. And I think they were a part of that 96 playoff team. All those wins. If you can average anywhere from 33 to 39 wins a season, you're going to reach those marks. But every kid I've ever had play for me are the ones that rack those numbers up. It wasn't me. It wasn't my coaching staff. It was the hard work all those kids put in for all those years. They're the real heroes. They're the real winners.
And you guys coming in as defending district champions, and again, you had lost 10 kids.
Yes.
Graduation. So you practically had a clean slate this year. Not only that, but you were the defending champ, so targets on the back. Was this one of the more your work cut out for you more so in the most recent years, considering how much you lost?
Yeah, we lost a great group. Don't kid yourself. That group that I lost, I'd had for 4 years straight. I mean, those kids were amazing. But the group that I gained, they were on that JV team. Some of them I did have on the varsity team, but they didn't get a lot of playing time. So that just put, a little bit more pressure, I should say, on them. They wanted that title. They wanted, getting a district title is one thing, but going undefeated, oh my, that's a whole nother ball game. They didn't want to lose to anyone. They worked so hard. I mean, our practices were extremely hard. They put in the preseason in the summer. They were ready to go. They wanted to win that title. They lose one game, they hate it. And if they lose one game, that next day in practice, they work even harder to get ready for the game coming up. So they know what's ahead of them.
And you mentioned these younger girls that just keep on coming through the pipeline. They grew up, it's a one high school town, it's a one high school town in Los Fresnos. So these girls grow up watching these athletes play before them, and they see you on the sidelines. They see the gold balls. They see all the district titles. It almost becomes to where once they get to you at the high school, they have an understanding on what the expectation is.
Yes.
And what is that like for these younger kids and you molding them and saying, this is what the expectation is, and this is what I expect from my program?
What I see happening in this day and age, I see parents putting those kids in volleyball at a younger age over and over and over again. I see them putting them in club ball. They might be 13, 14 years old, but they like to play volleyball. What can I say? Volleyball, when we get ready to play, when I look at the numbers, I'm overwhelmed. I'm like, wow, I have a football team here. I don't have a volleyball team. I have a football team with the numbers that we have. And the school has been so, they've been behind us so much. Because in volleyball, if you get that many kids and that many numbers, you've got to provide equipment, so much stuff goes into it. We have a no cut policy. I have not cut a kid in 35 years. We don't cut kids. We put them on the light teams, but you know what? I've had kids go on the light teams that ended up being some of my best varsity volleyball players. You got to let the kids have a chance. You got to give them that chance. We may not have a lot of uniforms, but we rotate them. We make sure they get on the court for a few games at least. So, but yeah, as far as going back to these younger kids, they, our middle schools are so, in one middle school alone, I could have 80 girls in volleyball, 80. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do? What's LFU going to do? We got that many kids just at one middle school, put all three of our middle schools together. You take 80 times 3, you're looking at over 200 kids. And I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And they don't quit. As freshmen, they come in and they want to play. So yeah, we have a big program. And I hope when I do retire, which I'm sure it's going to be sometime soon, that they continue with the tradition, because they got a great program. I have a great coaching staff. We have great middle school coaches. We have great administration. And I want to see the program go. Our gyms are full of fans, for every single game. And I don't know what they're going to do in August. That really bothers me because I don't know. I just hope we have a season.
Right, yeah, no, I know when I'd get assigned to go to Los Fresnos, I knew it was going to be good and it was going to be loud for volleyball. You all and Harlingen South are probably the two louder gyms that I've covered games. And then Hannah, for some reason, I don't know what it is. I think Luis Gonzalez and them might want to just keep that old gym because it was so difficult to win there. And I know they're
hard to win. Yes.
I don't know what it is. In basketball, volleyball, coaches just tell me I don't like playing there. It's an odd place to play. Yeah. It's strange, but they're fixing to get a new gym.
And the kids are right behind you there.
Yeah, right. There's
right
no bench.
Behind. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, there is no bench. Keeping on topic with volleyball, coach, we've seen a lot of successful teams these past couple of years. This year, again, you all and the McAllens, we saw some teams make a little bit of playoff runs. Mm-hmm. Where do you feel Rio Grande Valley volleyball is at in a whole right now as far as a competitive level?
I think we're getting there. I think it's just a matter of time. Mac High is probably the team that has reach that regional tournament more than anyone. Maybe Memorial is right behind them. I know we haven't reached that tournament in quite some time. We always seem to run into those Laredo schools.
Yes.
And I don't know how, that's just a part of it. We got to find a way to get over that hump. But competitively, McAllen's they're going to clean up next year. All those McAllen schools are in the 5A now. Wow. I can't even imagine how far they're going to go. And I hope they'd make it. I hope they make it to state, because I really think they can. I think we can too. We just got to fight our way through that Laredo district.
Definitely,
yeah.
No, it's tough, especially the Mackays, they get the Laredos right out of the gate in the Bi district when they were in 6A.
Exactly.
And then you guys get them
after area
in the area round, right?
Yeah,
so
area.
It's definitely tough, Coach. Looking forward towards the fall. I'm hoping that we can get. I feel football may start, but it may be late. But I believe a sport like volleyball, cross country could get underway, considering that the distance between the players, obviously across the court, and maybe we go without fans.
Right.
Maybe we go with 25% or maybe less, considering the size of the gyms. But
right.
As a volleyball coach, when do you feel that the red flag comes up for you? Because we're in June, we're just now starting workouts.
Exactly.
Picture us a month from now, and we're still in the same boat. When does that red flag come up to you and start saying, okay, maybe we might not play, or we might just start late?
Wow. If we don't hear something by mid-July, that's when I think the red flag will come up. Like you said, it might be 25% occupancy, but I'll tell you what, if they go to that, going to be a lot of upset parents.
Right.
A lot of upset people, because, they want to come in that gym. They want to watch their kids play. We play in 2 gyms. We play in our back gym. We play in our front gym. And those people are there. They're there to support their kids. And I think come mid-July, maybe late July, we're supposed to start, I think, August, August 1st, 5th, 7th, somewhere in there. I can't remember the exact starting date, but if they don't do something, if we're still at this 25% or 50%, I don't know what they're going to do, how they're going to sterilize that, volleyball. They're going to do it in timeouts. You can't just stop a game and wipe a ball off, so it depends on the number of cases that keep getting confirmed here in the Valley. I don't know. Everybody's saying, I don't know. And it's true.
Very true. Yeah. And I feel that right now we're going to go through with this strength and conditioning. And I believe the state will reevaluate in a couple weeks and kind of see where this goes. That's why I felt like today was a big step going forward. And much credit to you all, the coaches who are putting together, mapping out these plans for the athletes to get back in some shape, whatever sport that is. But we're joined by the Hall of Fame coach, Los Fresnos head volleyball coach, Becky Woods, this afternoon. Coach, before we wrap up, any shout outs or any message you'd like to give to your athletes?
No, I hope they get to play. That's the bottom line. I really hope. I felt so bad for all those kids that missed out this spring and those other sports. And I hope volleyball gets underway. I really, really, truly do. Because I got some seniors that'll be seniors this year, and they're really good players. And that is their one shot at getting a college scholarship. So I really, really hope the season does go without fans even. Hey, I'll take it without fans. Our gym will be a little bit more quiet, but
it'll be different.
Yes.
But another thing that coaches have brought up to us was that's where Real Sports Live will come into effect. And if there are no fans we'll be there to provide a game.
Televise. And you guys do a great job. You guys do an awesome job televising, except now everybody will get to know what we do, but that's okay. We don't care.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you have that mentality, because it's an ongoing debate, but nonetheless, that's where we were able to step in. We've done it with the graduations. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yes, I did. I saw some.
We stream some graduations, and just the other day, what's today? Saturday, San Perlita.
Yeah.
They had 5 new cases pop up in SP over the weekend. And they had to, that morning of, they had to make the announcement that there were going to be no parents allowed.
Right.
That it was just going to be the kids in and out and no parents. So the parents were upset, rightfully so, but we were able to stream their graduation. So all the parents were still able to watch it virtually, and some were still parked on the outside of the fence watching the graduation. But you know, it's been different for everyone, and in different ways, as media, as coaches, as trainers. My parents are both educators. They're adapting to online teaching, and my sisters are still in school. They're adjusting to school through online. So I you know, we're all in this together, as everyone's been saying.
That's what, yeah, exactly. We're all in it together. Every team is in the same boat at this point. Doesn't matter. So we just want to play. That's the bottom line. But we want to do it safely.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. And I want you guys to play, because last Sunday we went to a travel ball team, and Team MVP in Alice. They had a softball practice. That was the first live sports I'd seen since March 13th. Wow. And then just yesterday, another travel ball team, the team that Reba's on, Heat, they had a practice here in Edinburgh. So just being around live sports and seeing the kids,
nice, right?
It was great. It was beautiful. Yeah, I know. And then to see all the familiar faces and to see the kids. And I was joking with Reba when I said, hey, I was like, we're all working off our quarantine pounds right now.
She's a good kid. I love her. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. So
I want her to play volleyball, but she started with us as a freshman, but then softball took over. So.
All right, we're joined by Coach Becky Woods. Coach, thanks for cutting out the time in your day to join us here on the show.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day and stay safe.
Yes, you too.